Uber and Lyft multi-stops. We came across a post, shared it with you, and asked for your comments. Now we're going to go over what you have to say about them. Hey everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to the Rideshare Guy. And recently we put a post on our YouTube community tab as well as our Facebook page asking you how you handle multi-stops, as it's different for each and every single driver on how they do it. First off, if you don't know what a multi-stop is, essentially it's you pick somebody up and they have multiple stops on their trip. So you pick them up, they might have to stop at a store, they might have to grab something, go to another house to pick somebody up or drop somebody off, and then proceed to their end destination. Now, both Uber and Lyft state that this should be a short stop, meaning 3 to 5 minutes, mostly because, well, drivers get paid per mileage driving and they don't really get a good pay when it comes to time waiting. So if you're just sitting there waiting, you're not making anywhere near the amount as if you are out there actually driving per mile. Now, this right here is what we had posted. It was a story of a driver that shared on Facebook. And so we wanted to know not only what this particular driver did, but what you do as drivers as well. So how do you handle the issue of stops? I've come to the point now that if a ride has a stop, I tell them before I even start moving that I can only wait 5 minutes and ask if that's going to work for them, because I don't want to leave anyone stranded. I would estimate about 85% say that's fine and thank you them for being upfront about it. And the other 15% cancel because they know that they're going to be more than 5 minutes. And I made it clear that I will not be there in 7, 10, or 12 minutes. As with anything, there are positives and negatives. The negative, of course, is the minority who get pissy that I'm not willing to spend my precious time waiting for 11 cents a minute at their convenience. The positive is that everything is made clear up front, so there's no drama or confusion, expectations at the stop. So now let's go over a couple of the things that you stated both on our Facebook page as well as the community tab in the comments. All right, so let's go over to the Facebook page and pull a couple of comments that people had left on there. And we're going to go over the first one right away, which is a story of a particular driver that had an issue where they left anchors in the car from a passenger. What an anchor is deliberately leaving something behind in the car to try to make the driver wait. There's many different ways you can handle anchors. We can talk about that in another video if you want to know about that. Just let us know in the comments if you want a video dealing with anchors and what you should do, or a couple of different ideas when it comes down to it. All right, so Amadeo, I'm sorry if I screwed that up when saying that, but he got a request from Smith to Discount Tire and wanted to wait to remount the tire. He said it shouldn't take long. He deliberately left his phone in the car and the partner left a bag of personal items. These are the anchors that I was talking about. Told him to forget his phone, so he ended up taking it. And a few minutes later, the driver went inside, gave his partner the bag, and left and canceled the trip. They were acting entitled, and the driver felt fine for not giving heads up. Everyone knows that it takes some time to get it done. All right, and now let's go to a comment that Matt made, kind of trying to help tackle the solution and come up with an idea. So what Matt wrote is, he waits the 5 minutes. He gets that not every market pays the same per minute wait. Honestly, I think the company should have a notification on the app for the customer to make them aware of the 5 minutes and ask if you want to wait more, then you got to pay more, like an extra $10 for 10 more minutes or something like that. Personally waited and have done one customer that took advantage of this. I felt I couldn't leave them because they had the bags in the vehicle. Again, leaving the anchors. I know people who refuse to wait. They drop them off and end the trip and make them order another ride, which I don't agree with. To each their own. Now, that is a possible solution to having a driver wait and making it worth it for the driver, because again, drivers don't get paid to wait, they get paid to drive. Now, going on, Mark says, I don't say a word about time to not deal with the headache. Once 5 minutes passes, I'm gone. Or if it's going to Walmart and it's a round trip, I just automatically leave. And this is another way that some drivers handle it, is that they will just cancel right when the passenger gets out. And if they try to leave any anchors in the car, they'll tell them beforehand, you have to take everything with you. And then that way they will not be waiting, but they will go to the next ride whenever that might come in. All right, and then let's look at the opposite side of how drivers are handling it when it comes to multi-stops. And this driver, Matt, who commented on the Facebook page, said stops can be annoying, but sometimes I am surprised by a nice tip, so I usually allow 10 to 15 minutes if I am a safe spot to wait. A few weeks ago, it resulted in a $30 tip and Walgreens. I think that's supposed to be at Walgreens. And another day recently, it was a $20 tip while I waited at the auto parts store. So that is another possibility that if you do end up waiting, you might get tipped and you might actually get a good tip. The only thing is that isn't guaranteed, so you might not see a $20 tip or a $30 tip or any tip at all for that matter. So just be aware of the risks if you do wait. All right, and now let's go to our YouTube community tab and pull some of the comments that you have said when it comes to how you handle multi-stops. All right, so let's look at Mofo Soto. Awesome name, I like it. This is exactly what I used to do. I wish they had a waiting mode that made it worth it. Then I'd wait all day for people. They could do that for pickups too. After 2 to 5 minutes, just switch over to waiting rate of 50 cents a minute. And then Scance Rants had come up with a reply that says $1 a minute, 16 hour to wait. And I bet the rider would be more considerate of your time. Now, having that after 2 to 5 minutes go into a wait time where it's 50 cents a minute and then it's reflected when you're waiting, well, something like that would probably be a great solution to it. And 50 cents a mile would be pretty good because that would equate to $30 an hour while you're sitting there waiting. Then there is the other one that said $1 a minute when it comes to it and $60 an hour. So, well, it could be either or, but that is a pretty good solution as well too. And then going on to the comment just below that, it says wait time should be based on the calculation of the price per minute of the hourly wage in your state. For instance, a $15 per hour minimum wage equates to 25 cents per minute. Easy Fix and the Rideshare Wizards can expose minimum wage requirements are met. Win-win from Rideshare Robert. Now that is another aspect of how to do it, where instead of maybe getting 11 cents per minute or 13 cents or 17 cents or whatever it might be, they're bumping it up to 25 cents per minute for a wait time. Now, I'm not sure if drivers would like that as much, but it is a possibility. That might be the low end of things, and then we'll go to that minute where that would be the high end of things. Maybe somewhere in between, like that 50 cents per minute just to sit there and wait would be good. Now, that's just my thoughts when it comes down to it. I do like that 50 cents a minute because it's kind of right in the middle of things. But comment what your solution to this whole multi-stop thing could potentially be. But either way, those are a few of the comments that people had posted. If you want to see what other comments were said, make sure to check our YouTube community tab for this particular post, as well as our Facebook page for that post. And you can see what other people have said, because there were quite a few good comments. Now, for me personally, it's the 5 minutes, and pretty much at that point, then it's time to go. There are a few exceptions when it comes down to it. First exception is if it's a really slow night, then I might just be much more lenient because you could cancel the ride and you're not going to get that return trip or to the following spot or wherever it's going to be. And you could just be sitting there waiting. Also, the rider's attitude and how they are. If they're really cool, if I really have a good interaction with them, I might be more willing to sit there and wait a little bit longer than the 5 minutes. And then also, if they're going to tip me up front or at least pay me up front to wait, then I will do that too. And I had that happen one time. Really cool ride where it was a pickup and it went like 30 minutes. So it was a longer trip and then they needed to get back. So it was like, all right, well, this is going to be a long trip. It was a slower night, but somebody came out and said, hey, they're going to be a little bit of time, maybe about 30 minutes. Here's $60. And if you wouldn't mind waiting, I said, sure, I'll wait. So I just hung out 30 minutes. I was on my phone watching YouTube, doing something. I don't remember, but at least I got the money up front to wait. They were upfront about how long they were waiting. And it was great because, like I said, it was a longer ride to go to the destination multi-stop and then come back to where their final stop was. Now, that's just me and how I feel. Again, take a look at the comments, see what people are saying, and make the decisions best for you and your driving and how you want to deal with customers, how you want to deal with waiting, and all of that in between. And if you have any other comments or anything that you want to add to it, just make sure you put in the comments below. And also, again, make sure you follow our Facebook page as we post different things and could pull your comments and feedback as well as our YouTube community tab. Now, if you think one of the solutions when it comes to multi-stops and having drivers more apt to staying maybe more than 5 minutes, depending on the type of stop, switch to some sort of wait time mode and how much. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you haven't already. And everyone, drive safe.